This is an incredible vessel. Great workmanship. I've never seen anything like it. I assume that the steering is similar to the ships that I've piloted. If you'll give me leave, I'll take us to the secret caves on the edge of the Fire Sea. Thank you, my friend, for helping me escape. I will be forever in your debt, and I intend to help you in your quest. Right now, however, I must speak with some of the elders. I have to tell them about Clytus, and we must make plans. If you go back to the palace, I will meet you there. We have a few ships ourselves that can take me. Until then, farewell.
That was my luckiest throw of the night, and I owe it all to you.
What are you doing?
Doing? Why, we're playing Runebone. It passes the time while we're waiting for the prince to decide what we're going to do. I was losing all night until you nudged me. That last throw made up for my entire losing streak.
What are those stones you won?
They're not stones. They're rune bones. We make them from animal bones. Each unique rune bone has an individual rune carved into it, but they all interlock. When you throw them down, they form a design. If the bones fall in such a way that they form a legal spell, you win, and all the other players must contribute one of their rune bones to you. If no recognized spell is formed, you lose the bones you threw. Once you run out of rune bones, you're out of the game.
Are these spells real? Can you cast them?
Of course not. The runes are all fictitious. We made up the runes and the spells when we made up the game. Although when I created some of my runes, I snuck a peek at a few of the bookworm's old tomes. I wanted the runes to look authentic.
Since I was responsible for your throw, don't you owe me some of your winnings?
Sure, my friend. I guess you did bring me luck on my heaviest bet. I suppose I could let you have a few, just so you can practice a little at the game. If you get good enough, maybe we'll let you join in.
Are you hot, or is it just me?
It's just you.
That's all. Thanks, pal.
No problem.
How can I help you?
Are you Balthazar?
That I am. I'm afraid you have me at a disadvantage. Who did you say you were?
I'm a friend of Edmund's. We met in Clytus's dungeon.
Ah, of course. I thought I saw Edmund return. You assisted in his rescue? For that we are eternally grateful. How can I help you?
I've been to your home. I followed your directions here.
You followed my directions here? I'm glad that my journal serves some purpose. If it helped to save one life, it was worth leaving behind.
You're the same Balthasar who is the king's necromancer?
That's correct. Although as the royal necromancer, I suppose that I serve Edmund now.
The king is dead?
He wasn't a strong man. I think perhaps he had the plague at the end. It was befuddling his senses. The prince refused to assume the leadership from his father, so we followed the king until he died. Those were strange days. The king would lead us in circles as his mind slowly decayed. His death was inevitable. When someone contracts the plague, it is only a matter of time.
What is this plague?
We're not quite sure. For as long as I can remember, people have been falling prey to a mysterious sickness. We just call it the plague for lack of a better term. When someone contracts it, he dies days later. There is no cure. There doesn't seem to be any cause. It's not contagious in the usual sense. It strikes randomly. All of our efforts to learn more about it have proved futile. The plague has decimated our population. The dead far outnumber the living. Even if our world wasn't threatened by the imminent collapse of the Colossus, I question how long the plague will let us all live.
Prince Edmund has told me quite a bit about you.
The prince is a good lad. A trifle young to be sure, but holding up remarkably well under the strain of leadership. The loss of his father has been hard on him. He wasn't meant to assume the crown for years to come. My thanks for your part in bringing him home.
I'd like to talk about something else.
Certainly.
What are you reading?
This is just one of my own books on magic. I'm trying to master one of the lost arts, illusion. I'm so close to the spell that I can taste it. A breakthrough last night has placed it just within reach.
What was this breakthrough?
I've been trying to construct the spell by taking a back route. I reasoned that if I discovered how to break an illusion, I might be able to build one. Last night, I happened upon the correct rune structure to unravel an illusion. Using this as a foundation, I should be able to construct the Create Illusion spell.
How long will it take to work out the new spell?
Only a couple of years. This breakthrough has shaved decades off my research.
What exactly is an illusion?
An illusion is a powerful spell speaking directly to the brain of higher life forms. The spell tricks the mind into viewing reality a certain way. An ancient adept at using the spell could create an illusionary cell around you. No bars or walls would actually exist, but your brain would tell you that they did. To make matters worse, it wouldn't matter if he told you that the cell was illusory. The spell convinces your senses, all of your senses, that the cell is there. Your hand wouldn't be able to pass through the bars, whether you believed in them or not. Like I said, the spell speaks directly to the brains of higher creatures. Lower animals like that dog following you around wouldn't be affected. But for the purposes of the ancient magi, that was enough. Do you see why it is so hard to identify an illusion? When all of your senses are telling you that something exists, there's no reason for doubt. You can't go around suspecting everything, and even if you did, your suspicions wouldn't have any impact on the illusion.
Have you tested your Unravel Illusion spell?
Well, no, I haven't found any illusions anywhere. Not that I would be able to recognize one if I saw it. That's the nature of illusions. The only other way to conjure an illusion is to create one. And since I can't do that yet, I have no way of testing my Unravel Illusion spell. Although all the signs indicate that it is complete, I'd love to find an illusion somewhere to try it out on. But who knows where the ancients decided to place their illusions, if anywhere.
This is getting too technical for me. Let's talk about something else.
Certain.
What are you reading?
This is just one of my own books on magic. I'm trying to master one of the lost arts.
Why do you call them lost arts?
That's the frustrating part of this research. All of the magic arts that I've been uncovering were once known and practiced by the ancients. I'm walking over already trod ground. If only more of the texts had survived, I could simply read about these spells instead of having to reconstruct them from sketchy, half-destroyed notes.
Where are the rest of your books? I heard you have a whole library.
They are safe, buried in a secluded spot. I keep them guarded at all times. They are invaluable, and I won't risk damaging them.
Can I see your book?
I'm afraid not. I only lend my books to colleagues and apprentices. You know how valuable they are? Each contains a vital piece of information. Damage to even one of them could delay or completely halt my research.
Can you teach me any spells?
I'm afraid not. It takes a good deal of time to teach these arts to a novice. What's more, as a rule, I only teach my apprentices.
Never mind.
Certain.
What are those guys yelling about in the corner?
They're playing Runebone. It's some type of gambling game, I believe, very popular with the working class. Since there's not much to do here, they play it constantly. It's very distracting.
So this is home, eh? Nice decor.
There are worse places to live. As you know, Abarak is filled with warrens and tunnels. Most of them are larger, considerably more comfortable to live in. We constructed our city in one of those. These tunnels, although spacious enough to contain everyone from Telestia, are cramped, located too close to the lava of the Fire Sea, and have only one small, clean spring, providing scarcely enough water to sustain such a population for very long. Its only advantage is that the cavern is hidden. The entrance is nearly impossible to find along the extensive coast of the Fire Sea. It provides a perfect place to hide, which is exactly what we are doing.
Who are you hiding from?
From Clytus's forces, of course. If they found out where we were, they'd attack instantly. We'd be boxed in, trapped. We wouldn't last a day.
Thank you for your help. Perhaps we'll speak later.
As you wish. Yes, what is it now?
Have you noticed anything unusual about that cave wall to the east?
Unusual? No, it's just a cave wall, one of many, actually. But why?
What would you say if I told you that it was an illusion?
I'd say, how can you possibly know that? Your brain can't distinguish reality from illusion. You are a higher life form, aren't you? That's just an assumption, mind you.
I've looked at it through the dog's eyes and it's not there. What do you think that means?
You mean you possessed the dog and he didn't see it? Yes, that would follow. The spell does not communicate with the lower life forms, and by possessing the body of such a form, you would bypass the magic of the illusion. You say it was the east wall. It's an illusion. Imagine. I've been sitting this close to an illusion every day, eager for a chance to test my unravel illusion spell. I'll try it now. It worked! It worked! This is exactly what my research needed. Now that I know the Unravel Illusion spell is correct, it won't take long to finish the Create Illusion spell.
I just had an incredible vision when I picked up this black robe. What do you think it means?
A vision? Tell me about it. This is amazing. You've just experienced the life of our first dynast, Clitus I. It answers quite a few questions I've had about his rise to power and his reign. It also answers many questions about our current situation.
How did this happen? Why did I see all of these things when I picked up the robe?
I'm not exactly sure. It's possible that when Clitus took his own life, the robe became infused with his spirit. This happens sometimes, especially when the death is particularly violent and the victim is very powerful in magic. When you picked up the robe, what was left of Clitus, lying there for thousands of years, passed through you. Your mind interpreted this by showing his memories. This is all speculation, you realize.
Can you interpret the bit about Clitus's grab for power?
I would be happy to. What would you like to know?
Wasn't there a ruling council at that time? Could you tell me about it?
The High Council once governed over all of Abarak. Clitus was a member. It democratically created laws for all Sartan and at one time the Mensch as well. When the Mensch woke the Sartan, the council was the body that decided on the course of action. To put a handful of the Mensch to sleep and wait for the interconnection. The council would have continued to rule if Clitus had not been so power-hungry.
How did he convince the council to let him disband it and institute a monarchy?
He didn't have the political power to do that. No one did. So he required magical power to back his play. He made himself undefeatable with the scepter. No one dared to oppose him after he created it. It was child's play to institute the monarchy. He merely eliminated every possible opponent.
Why did he do all of this?
I believe that to be a member of Abarak's council, the only requisite was a mastery of magic. This implied intelligence, but not necessarily sanity. Clitus was clearly insane, if not before his play for power, then afterward.
Let's move on to another topic.
Very well.
Can you tell me exactly what happened to the Colossus?
The Colossus is the source of Abarak's magic. It is what warms the stone, melts the ice, and feeds water throughout the world. It was an unparalleled marvel, by far the greatest of the ancients' achievements. It contains so much power that it's easy to see why Clitus lusted after it.
What was the rune that he was battling with?
It was a containment rune. The spell was a cap for the Colossus's magic. It sealed the spells inside to keep the magic from flowing out, so that the Colossus would last forever.
What happened when he finally subdued it?
Over a period of several months, Clitus wove an intricate set of spells that temporarily weakened the containment rune. When the structure had drained the rune of enough power, he had his dwarf servant carve a chunk of the rune away. It was a central line of the rune. Without it, the symbol was meaningless and therefore powerless. The Colossus's magic began to drain away.
What did he do by removing a chunk of the rune?
It was much like taking a chunk of flesh from your body. The magic sealed inside of the Colossus started to leak out, like blood from a vital wound.
Why did he do this when it would eventually destroy this world? Didn't he think ahead?
It's true that eventually the Colossus would lose enough power to cease supporting Abarak. I'm sure Clitus must have known this. It's possible that Clitus was counting on the interconnection. He must have reasoned that thousands of years would pass before it would actually make a difference. Long before that, the interconnection would occur, and Abarak would survive on the energies provided from it. On that, I'm a little unclear as well. The interconnection is a little mystical to me, but it's obvious that the ancients believed in it. Perhaps they shouldn't have. Thousands of years have passed and no interconnection has taken place. The Colossus is failing and it's taking our world with it.
What did he do at the end, before he left it?
Clytus was intelligent. He knew that people would see the Colossus with a huge chunk missing from the containment rune and realize something was amiss, so he placed an illusion upon it. Now the Colossus looks normal, even feels normal, but the hole is still there, the rune is still broken, and magic continues to flow.
Can the Colossus be fixed?
That's an interesting question. I suppose it could. If the rune were reconnected, it would begin to function again. The spell would hold in the magic as it is supposed to. I don't know if the Colossus has enough magic left at this point to support Abarak anymore, but at least it wouldn't lose anymore. The original fragment, if it were replaced, would do this. Actually, it wouldn't have to be the original fragment. Anything that had the missing line that fit into the hole would reconnect the rune. The complete rune is the important element, not the composition of the rock. If something with a fragment shape were placed inside the hole, the containment rune would reactivate.
Enough about this subject.
Very well.
What's the deal with the dwarf?
The dwarf was Clytus's personal servant. He worshipped Clytus, very like a well-trained dog. I believe that's how Clytus saw him as well, not much more than an animal.
Why did Clytus bring him along?
Clytus needed someone else to break the rune. It required all of his concentration and effort merely to subdue it. While he focused on weakening the rune, he had the dwarf run in and carve out the chunk.
What did he do while Clytus battled the rune?
He just waited to be of service. Every day, he walked with Clytus through the catacombs to the Colossus and waited. If you count the amount of times he wandered in and out of the catacombs with nothing to do, that dwarf must have known it like the back of his hand. You couldn't get much more dedicated.
What happened to him when he tried it the first time?
Even weakened, the rune's magic was strong. Clytus should have known better than to send a mensch to cut the rune. It killed him instantly. I believe that this is where Clytus finally went mad. He was so close to his goal, and his plans were about to be foiled by a lowly mensch. In desperation, he resurrected the dwarf, knowing that the result would be much more resistant to damage than the dwarf's original body. The corpse dragged himself up, and still loyal to Clytus, removed the chunk of stone from the containment rune. Clytus had succeeded in breaking the rune at only the cost of a mensch. A bargain.
Is that when Clytus instituted the practice of necromancy among the Sartan?
Come to think of it, you're right. Coincidental timing? Perhaps not. It's possible that he instituted the practice to justify his own actions. That's almost unthinkable. We've been using necromancy for thousands of years to cover for one man's mistake? I certainly hope that's not the case.
Where did he end up?
After Clytus had broken the containment rune, he had no further use of his servant. He banished him to the ancestral home of the dwarves. It's a complex of caves fairly near to Telestia. The dwarf obsessed about Clytus for years. Having the mental retention of the dead, he eventually forgot that he had completed the mission and broken the rune, so he sat in his cave waiting for Clytus to come and take him back to the catacombs. I think he's been waiting there ever since.
Let's move along to another subject.
Very well.
Tell me about the Scepter of Rulership.
After Clytus took the chunk from the Colossus, he fashioned a scepter and used the chunk as a headpiece. He brandished the finished product at the council and demanded a crown. They caved in almost immediately.
What kind of power did this scepter have?
Mostly destructive. It could turn a man to ash with no more than a flick of the wrist. I believe it also had powers of a more subtle nature, though my texts don't address these. What is written is that the scepter is unmatched in sheer destructive force.
How did it get its power?
When the chunk was removed from the Colossus, the containment rune was broken. Magic began to seep from it, much like blood from a wound. It was always Clytus's intention to draw magic from the wound for his own purposes. He found that he could focus this power through the piece of the Colossus that he possessed. That is why he fashioned the scepter, using the fragment as the headpiece.
Why did the council cave in? Wasn't it filled with master wizards?
Clytus was drawing upon the magic of the Colossus. Nothing could withstand that. Where the other wizards had to weave the rune construct slowly into the air and pull the possibilities of their spells into this reality, Clytus could just disintegrate them with a wave of his hand. Before any organized resistance could be brought to bear, Clytus had eliminated any council member powerful or stubborn enough to oppose him. The others fell into line like cattle.
Is there any way to counter the scepter?
That's like asking if there is any way to defeat the Colossus. In a sense, it is the same thing. The scepter draws upon the Colossus's power. It cannot be overcome. Although it wouldn't be necessary to overcome the scepter if it were rendered useless. This is just a wild thought. But the scepter focuses the power of the Colossus that is leaking from the broken containment rune. If the rune were completed and the containment spell resumed working, the scepter couldn't draw upon the magic. It would be useless. All of this speculation is worthless as well. You can't render the scepter useless without completing the containment rune. You can't complete the rune without replacing the headpiece inside the Colossus, and you can't get the headpiece without rendering the scepter useless. A vicious circle.
Where is the scepter now?
When Clytus grew too old to rule, he placed the scepter in the hands of his eldest son, Clytus II, and disappeared. The line is continued unbroken until this day. Clytus XIV now holds the scepter and rules Abarak. I would guess that he has it within his palace.
Let's talk about something else.
Very well.
Can you explain why Clytus ran away at the end?
I have a theory. After he passed the scepter on to his son, it was only a matter of time until he passed away, either naturally or at the hands of one of his many enemies. He decided to come here, to a secret cave where he could hide forever. Clytus entered and decided upon a small chamber for his final resting place. He cast an illusion spell upon the entrance in order to keep everyone out. Even if someone found these caverns, they wouldn't penetrate his inner sanctum. He had reasons to want not to be discovered. At the very end, he cast a self-immolation spell. This is surprising, but not totally unexplainable. I believe that Clytus actually feared resurrection more than death itself. By destroying his remains, even before he was dead, he assured himself that he would never be raised. That's why you found a pile of ashes inside his robes, which were fairly intact. The self-immolation spell destroys the body of the caster, but nothing else. It appears that Clytus wanted to minimize the chances of anyone finding and raising him, but even so, his actions seem extreme. His remains were completely destroyed. Why did he bother hiding in these forsaken caves guarded by an illusion spell? I wonder if he was hiding anything else.
I found a book lying alongside of Clytus. It claims that necromancy is forbidden, and that for every person raised, another shall die untimely.
That is the final answer, the one I have been dreading my entire life. Necromancy is forbidden. Of course. You say that for every person brought back, another dies untimely? This is what we have termed the plague. We have unwittingly been killing ourselves for centuries, and we have done so at the command of a long-dead maniac. How could we have been so blind? We have to change. We have to put things right. I shall stop the practice of necromancy with my people, but it's only a start. We have to overthrow Clytus. We have to tell everyone.
Do you know how I could get to the Colossus?
The Colossus is located in the middle of the catacombs in the foundation of Clytus's palace. It's said that only the descendants of Clytus I are shown the way through. No one else is allowed in. Even if you were able to sneak back into the palace, I can't imagine how you would find your way to the center of that maze. Besides Clytus, there's no one living who can show you.
That's all I need to know.
As you wish. That's nice.
Grab the snake and hold him fast. Don't let him go. Grab him quick or you won't last if you're too slow. Grab the snake and hold him fast. Don't let him go.
You know, that nursery rhyme is starting to grow on me. Maybe a few hundred more times and I'll actually like it.
Grab him quick or you won't last if you're too slow. Grab the snake and hold him fast.
There's
Don't
no one
let
here
him
to
go.
listen to you anymore. Stop reading.
Grab him quick or you won't last.
Talking
if
to
you're
you.
Too slow. Grab the snake and hold him fast. Don't let him go.
Give me that book.
Grab him quick or you won't last if you're too.
Who are you?
I'm the nanny of this family. I take care of the children while the master does his research. In fact, I should be reading to the children right now as they go to sleep. Have you seen my book?
Why do you read the same rhyme over and over?
I read until the children have gone to sleep. I must read now. Where is my book? I can't find my book.
Who do you read to?
To the children. Aren't they precious? I've taken care of children most of my life. I love to read to them. I should be reading to them now.
Would you accompany me? I know where your book is.
You know where my book is? Please take me to it. I must read to the children. They can't go to sleep without their rhymes. They need me, you see.
Would you accompany me? Go grab that snake.
Grab the snake and hold him fast. Don't let him go. Grab him quick or you won't last if you're too slow. Grab the snake and hold him fast. Don't let him go. Grab him quick or you won't last if you're too slow. Grab the snake and hold him fast. Don't let him go. Grab him quick or you won't last if you're too slow. Grab the snake and hold him fast. Don't let him go. Grab him quick or you won't last if you're too slow. Grab the snake and hold him fast. Don't let him go. Grab him quick or you won't.
I talk to no one. I wait for my lord. He will be here soon to take me with him. Begone! My lord Clytus, I knew you would return. I have been faithful. As you asked, I spoke to no one about you. I have waited for you to take me back to the Colossus so that we can complete what we started. Take me with you, my lord. Please, take me with you.
Do you know the way through the catacombs?
Of course I do. A dwarf never forgets his way, especially through underground tunnels. I could find my way to the Colossus blindfolded.
I certainly hope so. Your eyes are so weak that you might as well be wearing a blindfold.
My eyes are fine. It's just that the world has grown a bit blurry lately.
You look like hell. Are you sure you can walk? I'm not gonna carry you.
These legs will carry me as far as you wish to go. My devotion to my lord will buoy me.
You sat here for thousands of years waiting for me?
I've waited ever since you sent me here. I knew you would return to take me away. I always knew.
Did you make that statue in the clock tower? Is that supposed to look like me?
A statue? A statue? I carve statues of you all the time in your service. You said that it pleased you. I hope I haven't done anything to make you angry. I might have made a statue when I first came here. I can't remember. Forgive me, my lord. It's all so foggy.
What about the scepter it holds? Is it an exact replica of the original?
You spoke about a scepter. Every time we entered the catacombs, you said that you would make a scepter that held the fragment of the Colossus. We haven't taken the fragment yet. How could I have duplicated a scepter that doesn't yet exist? Take me to the catacombs, my lord, and we will extract the fragment you need to make the scepter. I ask only to serve you.
Of course. Come with me now. We shall go there immediately.
Yes, my lord. Of course, my lord. Let us go. I'm ready.
Grab the snake and hold him fast.
I thought you might be coming back here, and you might need me. The rest of my people are on their way to storm the palace. I came ahead to aid you. I hope you don't mind. I see you're climbing in the social circles.
The Colossus! Break the rune! Break the rune! My lord commands me!
Someone has entered the catacombs without authorization. The Dynast is coming. Wait for Clytus. He's the only one who knows the way through the catacombs, and he wants this intruder himself. We've got the stinking rebel trapped now. Only Clytus knows the way through the catacombs. He'll be here in a second to track that lowlife down and kill him. You hear me, rebel? You're going to die!
Patron, I knew you would be trouble. I should have killed you when I first had the chance. And the young prince as well. It seems that I have been far too generous lately. I'll have to rectify that.
So, Haplo, you are a patron. I know about your race. Balthazar taught me well. This should make us enemies, but you have helped me. You have helped my people. Perhaps you did this for your own reasons, but I owe you a debt of gratitude, and I still consider you my friend. I thought that this was my most valued possession. Now I know that I value my subjects, my world, more. I want you to have it, to make certain that you do not forget us. If Abarak is to survive, we must be linked to the other worlds, and you are the only one that can do this. Take the seal piece. Go back to your ship, through Death's Gate. Save this world, Haplo, my friend. We need you. Now, I must clean this palace of the filth Clytus left here. My people should be in position by now.
It appears that these Sartan have done our job for us. By using necromancy unchecked for thousands of years, they've decimated their own race. I'm sure it's fair to assume that there are only a few stragglers remaining in the other realms, like your Zifnab, if any are left alive at all. The survivors in Abarak don't sound strong enough to resist us. In fact, they are in the midst of a civil war. Once the world is reformed, the resulting chaos will be perfect for our army to walk in and destroy both sides. You've done your job well. There's only one world left, and I hope what you will discover there will be no surprise. Many coffins filled with dead Sartan. If you haven't already, take the amulet that your prince was foolish enough to give you and transfer it to your steering stone. Go to Chalestra and bring back its seal piece. We're very close, Haplo. I can feel
it. You said that it was necromancy unchecked that killed the Sartan. Does that mean you'd consider using it with limits?
Do you understand the potential of that spell? An army whose numbers never diminish, whose members get stronger after they die. What force could stand against it? Naturally, we'd have some other deaths to compensate. but they'll be manageable. After a few skirmishes, the mere threat of our army would be enough to enjoin surrender. Then we wouldn't need to use the spell anymore. Until that happens, there are always losses in war.
Prince Edmund placed his faith in me to save his world. That's why he gave me the amulet.
This is from the race that consigned you to an eternity of torment, and he asks you for help. Are you seriously considering his plea? Look at his situation. His people squabble among themselves like mensch. Even now, they are in the throes of a civil war. Naturally, he wants you to help him. You represent the greatest threat his kind has ever known. He must not have realized what his amulet would mean to us, but it is our responsibility to take advantage of it. You don't just represent yourself. You are the vanguard for our entire race. Don't let your emotions get in the way of your mission. I'd hate to have to cut it short. Look deep inside yourself. You'll find that you are a patron. You were whelped by the labyrinthine fires of hate. Hate for the accursed Sartan that put you there. I can trust you, Haplo, because you are a reflection of me. You are my son, as all patrons are my children.
Have you learned anything new about the 6 Sartan devils that you were researching?
It happens that I'm very close to finishing my research. I have linked 4 of the devils to the spells that they were responsible for, and the other 2 aren't long in coming. Unfortunately, one of those 2 created the Reformation spell, so I cannot stop now. That's the spell I really need. The ones I uncovered, the original Sundering, something called the Interconnection, etc., are useless to me. But as I said, I'm very close.
That's enough for right now. I'd like to talk to you later if you don't mind.
Very well. I'll be here.
Ah, a patron. I hope that if I let you live and watched for a while, you would succeed where I have failed for so many years. And you have. You have opened the city to me. My magic was useless against that infernal spell. But you understand those mystic runes. You changed it somehow. I am grateful to you, patron. In return, I will give you a quick death. Painful to be certain, but quick. This? This wasn't made by the puny rune magic that you use. How did you come by it? This should not exist! It is impossible! There is only me, Sangdrax! I am the way! You don't mind if I relieve you in this stone, do you? You will certainly have no need of it shortly. This is your rescue? A life form lower than yourself? I will give it this. The dog is certainly braver than you, patron. Perhaps the dog is wishing you a fond farewell. It knows what is about to happen. I was simply going to kill you, but I've reconsidered. I won't merely end your life, patron. I will eliminate every trace of you. I am going to destroy your soul. You will no longer exist on this or any other plane. You should not have brought that stone into my presence. Prepare yourself for oblivion, patron. Now to take care of his mangy pets.
What do we have here? A dog? I haven't seen a dog for ages, but then again, I've been asleep for that long. Hello, boy. I'm Sama. How'd you get in here? Did you come with the Sartan forces from the other realms? This dog is no dog.